This is looking north from 33rd Ave, and this is the 33rd Ave south outflow. Just noting the pile of rubble that hasn't been picked up from last year's cleanup. Seems to be some blackberry removal, has been attempted. This is the entrance to a existing pathway on the western bank at 33rd Ave. Quite well maintained. It goes through to a cul-de-sac on 32A. Again, this is from the outflow on 33rd Ave. Local residents are using this portion as a landfill for cuttings and yard waste. And this is the cul-de-sac on 32A. Looking north from the cul-de-sac on 32A and panning down into the rocks below. Notice they have been piled up strategically by the local youth for a path across and blocking it. Now panning south and picking up. This again is the cul-de-sac at 32A, picking up the Bertrand Creek sign and noting this is the approximate location where the proposed footbridge would be. On the west bank again, it's not in good repair that the previous one was, but it's still being used by local youth and whoever. As you pan across the creek to the other side, the vacant lot, that's township property, where the other end of the bridge would be, footbridge would be. This tansy, common tansy growing, lots of whack grass, canary grass, an abundance of that. To noting there has been an attempt to plant some willows along the bank side of this fencing. They seem to be evenly spaced, indicating that they're not self-starters. Again, we catch a glimpse of the water, but it's really overgrown here. So this is still looking south towards 32nd Ave, and substantive amount of water. If I recall correctly, it was rather deep in this section. It had been dredged at one point in the 70s, and quite a silty bottom. Indicator that the path is now obstructed by a fence which abuts out closer to the creek, and the shrubs and brushes are too dense to pass. Okay, we've just taken a picture of the mailbox, which may seem a little out of place, but I'm just looking at the tidiness around the mailbox. The lack of refuse indicates the neighbors are somewhat respectful of the neighborhood. North from the municipal park property on 268th, and looking directly across at the proposed siting of the footbridge, and again the fence and willows on the western bank. Northern perimeter of the municipal property looking south, as you can see, is being used as a turnaround for vehicle traffic at this time. And the grasses are cut back somewhat in the immediate area, and quite overgrown along the perimeter of the bank of the creek. And this looks directly south to 32nd Ave. Take a quick cameo shot here indicating the fence that abuts out near the creek on the western edge, and you can see as it narrows how close the proximity to the roadway on the eastern side is. The creek narrows to a very almost chute-like. There's a proposed cycle route here, as well as it's posted with no dumping signs, which may help with litter problems. And planted on the other side, or self-starters. Some wild rose, very pretty. And this is actually the culvert at 32nd Street. Although this is looking northwest, straight up the creek from 32nd Ave. Again, there are the daisies, and looking further up you can see the municipal property. You see the proximity of the neighbors to the creek. And that's probably about the best shot you're going to get of the creek and the water and the intake on 32nd Ave, looking southeast. Advantages the outflow on the south side of 32nd Ave, and again there's our signage. This is looking south 32nd Ave, and note the gabion wall, how effectively it works, and how clear, the clarity of the creek. So note the contribution by the local landowner to the removal of blackberries. It's quite an improvement over the previous year. That you run into from one end of the landowner to the next, where the property line stops, the work stops, and the creek becomes plugged again. Refuse to be removed, bicycles. This is a pipe laid in, and I think in a bit of an attempt to create a mini culvert of some sort. The hard house and the section of Bertrand Creek from looking across the street from 271st Ave. Just looking west and southwest up Bertrand Creek at 271st, and This is the proposed site for the sixplex. Note the rose bushes that are along the perimeter bank, again, as a part of the former farmstead. Yeah, you should note the water level here is somewhat higher than it has been, in that we have recently had a rain, although we did have a severe dry spell. The wildlife, fowl, duck. The intake crossing the road at 271st and panning the northwestern bank, again with the sixplex would be sitting along this lot in the background. I'm pleased to see that it's so much better kept this year. Last year it was quite a discouraging thing to see. I know the Heritage Society uses this mailbox, and I hope that they're helping to maintain it in a clean and tidy fashion. This is a small private bridge bridging the creek to a small development on the other side. This is part of the pathway that's proposed as part of the trail system. And again, looking east down the creek, private property sign, and this is from the private property bridge, looking obviously west up the creek, and there the condominium development there. The blackberry that is growing along this section here. There was some blackberry removal done on this section here last year, and you see how prolific they really are. Tansy growing alongside, and this is the paved portion of the trail that's existing. And note the rose bushes again. Building Interesting to note the proximity of local residents to the creek at this point. This is looking south or southwest along that perimeter of the creek, and to the north is the Bertrand Creek estates coming up very shortly. And we're looking west again, straight up the creek. Quick note here, the condition of the tarmac, or the path itself is beginning to deteriorate. As you can see, portions of it are still quite open, and this cedar hedging all along the back is really quite a privacy for the local residents who live in the complexes behind. And a willow tree, and etc. Again, the local residents, and as if we look through here, we see Panther computers coming up on the south side again. You note some of the slime and scum that's still on the creek at this point. It runs rather slowly, a bit of an oil slick there. Some broom that's not in bloom any longer, but it's there. It's quite a good substantive size. And again, quite thick with the canary grasses. And at this point, we get back to the blackberries coming up very shortly again. Rather bad infestation for a short stretch. Stretch is so severely blocked off that one cannot pass it. It does lead on to a bridge which is right behind the Panther computers. A little footbridge over the Bertrand estates. And this would have to be removed and completely to get access again to that bridge. Quick note on the color of the water. It must be a certain amount of turbidity further up. We're now filming from the south side of 272nd, or the east side of 272nd rather, and this is the outflow beginning at the Aldergrove Mall on the north bank here. Water levels have risen recently, and so there's more and more water. Just noting the additional shrubs have been planted along the bank here. And of course this is a much maligned gravel that was placed on the property owned by Al Ackham. And this is looking across from the Alder Mall parking lot on the private residence on the north shore of the creek. Again, we're looking from the Alder Mall parking lot off of 272nd Street. And we're here at the Aldergrove Mall parking lot, and this is looking slightly north as the creek winds around through the center of the mall parking lot area. This is an area that was removed of blackberries last year, and gravel spawning beds replaced it with diffuser rocks. You see the blackberries starting to come back in the morning glory. This is the first culvert at the bridging here in the parking lot of the Bertrand Creek. Fighting the rain here to get it in and out of it. Taking a quick pan of the canary grasses, which seems to choke off this section for the most part during the summer months. And we now look at the approach to the second bridging of Bertrand Creek at the Alder Mall. This is a shot of the bridging and Willow Creek Estates as seen from the mall side, noting that the local residents are using the creek side to access their condominiums. And we'll just wait out the rain here a little bit. This is the second bridging of Bertrand Creek in the Aldergrove Mall parking lot. This is looking east, southeast, southeast. Name?
Karen.
Karen. Well, Karen's on film now.
Hi.
There you go. There's the Aldergrove youth. Okay, see you later, girls.
Bye.
This is a section that the blackberry bushes were removed from last year. And again, this is on the perimeter of the Aldergrove parking lot. The cattail, I believe, was planted or may have been planted last year as well. And you can see Fraser Highway in the background. The creek is much opened up from years previous. And we're still looking east to Fraser Highway to note the erosion. And shrubs have been planted the year before. You see the blackberry beginning to come back again at this stage. Some of the blackberry residual waste that remains gives you an indication of how heavy the infestation was. Almost looks like a clear cut you would see on a forestry video. Just looking northwest at Willow Creek Estates. And you see the natural drainage which adds to the flow of Bertrand Creek. And there's the culvert or bridging across 272nd Street. There's your vehicle traffic above. Now we're looking at the rear of the Elks Hall. Again, this leads out to Fraser Highway. Yeah, a word of clarification, the building that we're actually are looking at is the back of the Aldergrove Antique Collectibles Rainbow Market. And note the use of the gabion basket and how effective they are. Blackberries seem to have been a bit of an advanced state here. They may not have been trimmed back as well last year from this location. A quick note of the long-term use of this area as a landfill. Some of the refuse is quite dated and obviously quite various stages of decomposition. And here we are right behind the Rainbow Market. We have an infestation of morning glory and thistle, rather severe. You see the continues to be dumping along the creek side here. Refuse in this location, as well as some older vintage garbage and lumber in the creek, which is often thrown here as a landfill. And of note is the pipe running out, plastic pipe from Rainbow Market. There's an overflow, perhaps from a laundry. Needs to be investigated. Note the Rainbow Market now has a dumpster here to help alleviate the problem with wind-blown garbage, which has been a problem in years past. And this is our Fraser Highway looking across to the Social Services building. So there's our signage again. The ever popular Bertrand Creek. And this is looking north of Fraser Highway. Shot of graffiti being strategically placed on the fish here, and of course this is looking south from Fraser Highway. And once again we have blackberry infestation. This section was cleaned last year, the in-stream, but there was no work done on the actual banks of the creek. And this is the section that the ministry has indicated they would wish to adopt, or that is the workers at this particular branch. This is the view from the lane behind the Ministry of Social Services building. As we pan back, you can see Willow Creek Estates on the other side. And again, more blackberry. And again, more evidence that the local residents continue to use it as a landfill. Once the blackberry is removed from this section, I suspect much of that will cease. Okay, this view is looking east on the dead ends of 30th Ave, and you note it's quite overgrown, and there is still there's a small path there leading down to the creek being used by local residents. Just a quick note, the blackberry growing right up into the trees as high as the roof line on the Willow Creek Estates on the opposite shore. We're knee deep into morning glory. Lots of it. And of course lots of blackberry on the other shore. Standing on a pile of landfill here. They've been dumping here for years and years. And you see the creek is barely visible here. There we have it. The gate. Fire bridge access. Supposed to have been a fire bridge. It's actually the main access for this condominium complex on the other side. Private access is what it is. As it says, private property. But just looking north from the gate at Willow Creek Estates. And you can note the ducks. Must have fun there, sliding down the water almost. And just slightly out of view, one of the local residents has some sheep in the backyard here. Well, you can just make it out in the edge of the frame. Oh, this is what this fenced little pasture is here. Sheep, and then we go on to Grove Estates, the rec hall, I believe. And we'll go around and have a look at the new bridging that was done there last year. The complexes start to look alike, so you start calling them all the same. This is actually Creekside Villa. This is the approach to the bridge that was put in last year here with the township. I'll walk up and have a better look. This is looking southeast towards Jackman Manor, flying their flags over there. This is a creek down through here, quite pretty stretch. See, lots of canary grass, and as you swing and go on the north side of the bridge, you can see the rocks that have been placed along. You see the sheep pasture and the meanders down through to the bridge. Opens up quite well. And again, we're looking, see the lupin starting to grow, or the vetch rather. They've really widened this channel. And I shouldn't say that's canary grass, that's been planted to avoid the erosion the year before. Pick up some open water here. As I say, a very pretty stretch. There have been some seedlings planted along here. And once again we've caught up to our family of ducks and quite enjoying themselves. These bulrushes, cattails, I believe were planted by LEPS workers the previous year. And there was some blackberry removal done further down, I think. You note the grass is growing right along the creek, make it inaccessible to the local residents in the complex for much of the year, which is really not what they desire. And again, we're approaching 26th Ave, and the abundance of grasses here choking off the creek. Really quite prolific. This is the area that they propose to replace with a full bridging. This culvert will come out this summer and be replaced. So we're going to take a good shot of this before any work is done on it. And we'll have some before pictures. I know the after pictures are going to look quite different. And we'll get some shots of the other side. Unfortunately, that'll be the end of my day. Running a little short on time. So I have, you see the hedgerow shielding the view of the sewage treatment plant. This will eventually become available for development once we hook into the sewer line, the James sewer line. Of course, there's our signage again. Abundance of berries along here. There was some attempt to remove some blackberries last year, and It seems to have grown back in completely again. There's actually a trail along that perimeter. Most of the time it's not quite passable. So there you have Jackman Manor plant, and right beside it Bertrand Creek. Anyway, we can see again there's lots of blackberries and quite substantive trees in this portion. This is the area that the local residents are concerned about having left as is for the use of the world bird life as well. Swimming pool for Aldergrove Lake, is it? Not quite, eh? And we'll go down and take a look at the creek from here. Now it's almost a certainty during a summer day you'll see some kids down here playing along this section. And that's what creeks and kids are for, I think. It seemed to be that way when I was younger anyway. This is what you don't see from the park side is all the labyrinth of pathways back in here that the local kids have for their playground. What a huge cedar, eh? And leads down to the water's edge again. See, seeing is believing. I'd certainly be curious to know why the water has suddenly become so muddy here, just downstream from the sewage treatment plant. And again, the path leads on. And again, another small duck. Just note the woodpeckers that work with the deadfalls here. And you certainly have some wonderful trees for nesting. Incidentally, the path becomes impassable. You can see this property butts out almost to the creek again. Much the same as on 33rd Ave, 32A Ave, and it really makes it almost impassable at the shoreline of the creek.
Plaque that's put on the front of the gazebo. It'll be in its permanent place later on, but it's there for people to read today. And it reads, this gazebo was constructed to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Kinsmen and Kenettes of Canada. It was generously funded by the Kenett Club of Aldergrove and built by Mr. Gamon and the 1994-95 construction class at the Aldergrove Community Secondary School for the enjoyment of all visitors to this park, June the 10th, 1995, serving the community's greatest needs. And it is a magnificent gazebo, and I was amazed that the roof actually got up this morning. At this time, I'd call on Acting Mayor Muriel and Mike Muse to come forward and do the ceremonial cutting of the ribbon to officially open Kinsmen Heritage Park.
Hold on a second. Okay, there we go.
I declare this morning everyone thanks to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all coming out, and please enjoy our park. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Put it on the farm. Yeah.
Come on, look where we go. We gotta go to the bike rodeo. So you stay with Dave from there, okay?
The Kinsmen want to take my hat away from me.
Do they?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
done. Finished.
That's what I should get instead of the Mickey Mouse one that I have.
Oh,
I've got one of those.
this was a nice one, but I think we could have maybe gone with a bit wider angle on the capability.
What I like about it, of course, you don't have to go and make a VCR tape to put it on the TV. Otherwise,
No.
you have to use the camcorder.
Yeah, we can actually make a copy from this one here on the VCR.
You
Actually,
can show it directly from there.
yeah, yeah, it has a little 2-second thing where you can plug it in and patch it and show it directly from here. I use it for splicing that way.
You got a picture of Muriel in there?
Yes, I do. Well, we got Muriel cutting the ribbon and speaking, and
Great.
got her just in time. So she got
Involved
her.
in everything for the patients. Very good.
Oh yes, she has.
What do you got?
But I got a lot of work, a lot of years.
Are you taking this for any particular?
It's for the Heritage Society. Yeah. Would you like coffee? Would you like a coffee?
Yeah, it would be nice to get one.
Okay. Just leave your name in the Heritage Society office.
Okay. I'll do
And
that.
indicate that you'd like a coffee, and we'll get a coffee out to you.
Right. I'll do
Cost you
that.
cost you for the tape. For the
Well, that's,
$2.50 or something like that.
that's pretty good. I just live over here in the...
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. We're supposed to deep front. Just like this one. I like that. So, everything else is there.
On the left here, Dave, you can look in and you can see the piston going back and forth.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.